Hey Shooby-Doodlers, how are you doing? I had a message from Rashid Rafsan 6117 asking me, can you make a video about drawing hands and heads? I really love your art style. I'm struggling to come up with new character ideas and drawing hands. I'm a beginner, thank you. Well, I think hands really are one of the hardest things to draw. And I think I said before, we had a teacher who, that was his job, full time was drawing hands pretty much. So let's just draw a character. So I'm going to make this very simple. Maybe put some ears on, like that. And of course, the part of the whole problem with this is it's not just creating a character, it's creating a character in your style. And part of what makes a character interesting is that it is done in your style. And that's not something that you sort of develop easily, and it's something you have to kind of go and work at by looking at what other people do, which is what I have done over the years. Let me show you what I've got away with in the past. Look, these are pretty terrible hands. And I put this down. Look at those, they're awful. And I've just said, it's my very quick, loose style. But they are pretty terrible hands. They're terrible. And it's something you just kind of get better at over time. By looking at what other people do, this is one of my favourite artists, Posy Simmons. And you can tell she has probably gone to umpteen of these publishing parties with all these publishing types sitting around and gossiping, drinking. And she's drawn them. She's probably got sketchbooks full of this. And she's drawn and drawn and drawn. And apart from that, she went to art school and she's been probably drawing since she was 2 years old and has been drawing people's hands and has studied them. This is lovely Kevin Hanks, Julius, baby of the world. And this is a mouse. It's a character. And look, they've got hands. They're not mouse hands, are they? They're not mouse claws. And so they're kind of human. Look, that's not a mouse claw. There, look. It's very, very simple. But it understands how hands are created. It understands what's going on inside the hands. Look, cat in a hat. Now, here, I think that's like a thumb and it's like a little finger in a finger, and then those three in one finger. So, you know, it's been reduced so much, hasn't it? And I think the kids in the cat in a hat. Well, now look, 1, 2, 3, 4 you've got going on there. So it changes. There's only 2 there. And the kids, look, what is that? That's more like a duck or something like that than a hand. But in a way, it doesn't really matter. Let's find that thing 1 and 2. They're kind of the same. But that's a really delicate little hand drawing. And you don't draw that without practice, without having looked at hands, having looked at how other people draw hands, and practicing. Let's find some more. Dorothy's Dream. My daughter loved this one when she was little. And it's not quite right, in fact. That thumb is in the wrong place, but it doesn't seem to matter. It's a very loose style. Nicely observed little hands, you know, and she's sat down and drawn people. So this is Catherine McEwen. And look, these are really, really simple hands going on here. You can get more simple than that. And it kind of depends on the character. It depends on your style. It depends on who you're drawing for. You know, if you're drawing for children, you can sort of draw in a very different style than if you're, you know, drawing for a billionaire who wants to have something look photorealistic or something. This is Nick Sharratt, who has a very simple style. How more simple do you get than that? Let me find some. So simple. Very, very simple. But we got a little bit of 3D going on here. It looks so simple. It's not just sausages. There's a little bit of 3D going on there. There's no thumb. That would just confuse things. Nick Sharratt likes to really simplify things down. And look, there's the mum. That's just a perfect little hand. Really, really simple. That's all you need. And you come to someone like Quentin Blake, and what is going on there? They're not even sausages. They're kind of nobules or something. Those are sausages. But it doesn't matter because, look, there's what is going on there. It doesn't matter because it's Quentin Blake. We know and love his style. This hand is much too big, and it's a load of flapping sausages. So, like I said, it doesn't matter. We know Quentin Blake. We know his style. We love his style. Look here. It's very, very simple. But look, he's got expression in those hands. And just in that, like, the way she's holding that pail there. It's, the expression is in the hands. And again, look, simple little things. Look, this is just like that. But he's spreading his fingers out. He's going, hello. But here's the farmer, and he's casting his seed across the ground. And there's that little curve in the fingers, which just gives that movement. You know, it's not just a hand. So however simple and quick and rough it looks, there is understanding about the motion and what is going on there. And this is Cicely Mary Parker's Flower Fairies. And these are just, you know, beautifully observed hands. I think probably there's a lot of photographic reference. These illustrations might seem very old and ancient, but, you know, photographs have been going a long time, and artists have been using photographs for reference in all that time. Look at this beautiful, delicate little finger there. Just, you can feel that flower is just being held just really, really gently. And here again, look, it's just, this fairy is taking care with this hairbell. This comes about through lots of life drawing, study, and maybe photographic reference as well. This is a side view of a hand which I find particularly difficult, but it's just perfect, isn't it? Go and find these old books. You'll probably find them in the library. You'll find them online, and just look and look and look and try and work out what they're doing. So let's do a bit of drawing. And what is going on in the hand? You have got the trapezium, which is here. This is the trapezium here. So you've got all these little wrist bones. That's the trapezium because it's like a trapeze shape. There's 8 carpal bones in there, and then you've got the wrist coming off like so. This is the wrist, and then you've got the ulnar and the thingy going off there. And then here you're going to have like the thumb going off like that, but that's going to be a carpal. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4 carpals going off there, and it's kind of in a curve. And that distance there, you want to double up again like that. And this is going to be the thumb, actually probably a bit like that. And so we got an extra thing. So these bits here, these are the metacarpals. These are the phalanges. So you've got the trapezium here. In fact, you can see, look, see that little knobbly bit? That's actually the trapezium there. That's the wrist. Sometimes you think this is the wrist, but it isn't. These are then your metacarpals, and then these are the phalanges on top. So if you come here and you think you've got, this is your wrist, and then we're going to have a thumb going out like that, and then we can think of having this kind of extra trapeze kind of shape there, and the same distance again, pretty much going around like that, with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's going to be a bit longer. Then we can come here and put the sort of the thumb in there, coming up and around to there. And then we want the next finger coming in about there, and the next one not quite so high, and the next one quite a bit shorter. That's going to come into there, maybe a little bit of something going on there, and then you're going to want these bits in like that. And then across the middle, don't draw a line right the way across, because that just chops it up into little bits. And just those little dots will then give you, you know, the fold points. And that is your basic hand. And then, you know, you can put it in a sleeve like that. That doesn't look too good, does it? Anyway, so let's put a cuff on there. So that is your basic sort of hand shape. When it comes to all those movements, that's when it really gets difficult. And that really just requires a lot of study. So this book I was showing you earlier, what I would do, because I have this very quick, scrappy kind of style, I would go like that, which I suppose is similar to Quentin Blake, isn't it, really? And then you can have these really sort of simple, graphic-y kind of styles, and you can have your cuffs on there, and so we could maybe sort of go like that, and like that, and like that, and like that, and that's just very, very sort of much more graphic, isn't it? And that's all you need. I remember being particularly struck by a Hogarth print in the 18th century, and he used to do these sort of cartoons, and it was somebody going like that, and there was a whole lot, it was a riot going on, and this sort of hand, a silhouette of a hand in the foreground, and that kind of sort of was I remember, but to get this, he had these sort of fingers really splaying at the ends, and this is quite sort of spider-like, isn't it, like that, and it was just really, really forceful. But it's a hand. Honestly, when you are drawing characters, I think people are really looking here, and then their subconscious is kind of looking here, right? So first of all, they're connecting with the character, and so let's try and sort of make the character sort of look out at you. Let's give him some hair, maybe even, just to kind of make him look less bald. So the character is sort of looking at you, and we actually want to make it look a bit happier. And I think this is really what people look at first. When you're creating a character, you're trying to build a bond between you and the viewer, the reader, the whatever you like to call them. And this is how you do it, through the eyes and through the body language. And as a character, the next thing they look at is the hair or the hat or whatever is or the mask is like how they identify this as being this particular character. And then also the costume. So, if you've got a bat logo on the front or something, a Batman sort of thing on the t-shirt, then this is that character. So part of what you're doing with creating a character is you're coming up with the design of that character, which always stays the same. So bam, you don't have to explain this is Zappo, the whatever superhero, because it just says it with the costume. Then you are taking people straight to the eyes to create a bond between you and the character, or you are taking the eyes away to point at the action that you want the viewer to be looking at. So you want to know, my character is here, the action is over there, and so his attention is drawn there, and he's pulling your attention, she is pulling your attention to where the action is in the picture, but letting you know that the character is there and about to, save the world or whatever. So the hands, generally, you can get away with an awful lot until it actually comes to the point where they're really doing something with the hands. So when it's sort of pow, zip, bash, then you need to get those hands right, and that's where you really need to kind of study, I'm afraid. They always say with teaching, you only need to be one day ahead of your pupils, and really you only need to be one day ahead of your audience as well, because when you come to do that illustration or that particular movement, that hand movement, whatever it is, it doesn't matter if you haven't drawn it before. That is the time you've got to learn how to draw it. So, if that makes sense. So at that moment you can go off and do all the research and just practice that particular hand movement, and when you come back to it next time, you will remember it because you've sort of put the work in to do it. So like I always say, if you want to be an illustrator, you want to do characters, stuff like that, get yourself a sketchbook, and wherever you are, with friends, at a party, sitting in a bus queue, wherever you are, Just get your sketchbook out and sketch. And don't forget, when it comes to drawing hands, you've got a model right there. So you can, if you can't think what to draw, just draw your hand and see what happens. And there's usually somebody about. And people are quite good. If you say to them, would you mind just sitting there and, holding this mug or doing whatever just for 5 minutes while I draw it? And people are quite interested, and they'll sit and chat with you while you do your drawing. It's quite a sort of a bonding moment. So that's about all I can say at the moment, without going into all sorts of different poses and ways to put your hand. But if you have a particular problem with hands or anything else about drawing and illustrating, then do put them in the comments box below. And don't forget to subscribe, because next time I'll be doing a similar thing about heads. Thanks for watching and subscribing. Bye.